I'm sure most of you remember that little song, "Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear." Well, we need to remember that temptation always lies first in what we see and what we hear. So we really need to choose carefully where our eyes and ears wander. In fact, there's an old ancient myth about a man named Ulysses that he was quite a sailor, and when he went out sailing, he went out to meet the sirens. And the sirens had caused many ships to sink as they ended up on the rocks when the sirens sang their seductive songs. They were so tempting, to all who heard them. But Ulysses, he decided that he was going to do something a little different. And so he stopped his ears with wax, and he had himself bound to the mast of his ship. But apparently he was unaware that every traveler before him had also done the same thing, and the wax and chains were no match for the sirens. You see, their song could pierce through everything. The sirens, however, had another weapon, an even more fatal weapon that they chose to use against Ulysses, and it was called silence. So as Ulysses approached them, the sirens never sang anything. They just were silent. But so instead of being seduced to strain his ears and to come closer to hear their song, Ulysses concluded that he alone must be the only person who could not hear their song, and that in fact he was immune to their powers. Well, this strengthened his confidence, and he then set his gaze on the horizon and escaped the sirens as no one before him had done. You see, no matter what the world's temptations, we've got to remember that God gives us encouragement in His Word. In fact, Mark 14:38 says, "Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." And then in 1 John 2:16, he says, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of this world." It's time for you to understand that your eyes and your ears are the gateway into your heart. Resist the temptation of the world. Follow after the things that God has for you. He will give you the strength when your flesh is weak. This is Pastor Riley, and that's Just a Thought.